But joining us now for a reaction is the Blaze's Lawrence Jones, and in Los Angeles, a good friend, Leslie Marshall, a radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. You all have lots of titles. Friends are one of them, and joining me late night on a Friday night, I do appreciate it. Lawrence, if I could start with you on the NFL. We did see possibly the NFL and some of the teams figuring out a way to do this. So Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, I know they were from Dallas, basically that they said, we're going to kneel, and then we're going to stand for the anthem. And is that what the other teams are picking up, that maybe that's the way that they can show solidarity with their teams and the patriotism that they have for the country? Yeah,
because I think it's important to note that the movement was actually dying for a period of time. You know, you had Colin Kaepernick that depicted cops as essentially pigs, and so a lot of people didn't support him. You had other, like, 3 athletes that decided to support the movement, but the movement was dying, and the president kind of ignited the movement back up and stirred the pot. But as it relates to the Dallas Cowboys, what they decided to do is that they were going to stand together as far as kneeling before the national anthem against the president, but then showing respect for the anthem. So that was a balanced approach. But I do think that this movement has evolved for the original thing, which was police brutality. Now it's a movement against the president.
Leslie, how do you see it? Because I know that you pay a lot of attention to these issues, and when you do radio, I know you hear from a lot of people, and I'm curious what you heard as the week went on.
Well, I think, and I know we're going to show some polls later, but, you know, the diehard fans want to see football. And I have to admit, being from Boston, I'm a Pats fan, but I'm one of those that I show up for the Super Bowl. And, of course, because of my job, I'm tuning in. But I would be tuning in to see, are they going to stand? Are they going to kneel? Are they going to lock arms? There was a meeting earlier with the NFL commissioner, owners, coaches, and they really decided that they need to do something regarding this issue going forward and regarding unity. I think the bottom line is the people are telling me that are calling in, they want to see the game. They don't think these people are being anti-American. After all, every NFL player has an American flag on their helmet. But they do feel that this has become quite a distraction to their favorite sport.
You mentioned the polls. Let's see if we can pull those up. This is a new CBS poll that is just out. So the question was, the views of Americans who were polled in this and the player protests of the national anthem, approve of them, 38%, but disapprove 52%. So I think that shows, obviously, the majority thinks that standing for the national anthem is correct. But then take a look at this one, which is this question of the president and his comments. And the views of President Trump's rally from last weekend, disapprove of that, 48%. So just 4 points lower than that 52%. So I think both things can be true. Like, you can think that people have a right to protest. You can also think the president may have gone too far. But maybe after a week of all of this heat, by Sunday, Lawrence, does it sort of calm down and we find a way to get back to football, but also to deal with the issue? I think that there is a real opportunity for bipartisan movement forward on criminal justice reform, and I think that the president could play a leading role in that.
Yeah, Dana, I think we talked about this off air as well. I had a problem with the president specifically commenting on another man's business. It would be like somebody in Trump Tower going into and telling Donald Trump to fire everyone. I think that was problematic, and I think that's why a lot of the NFL players rallied against it. But as it relates to criminal justice reform, which a lot of Republicans are leading the way, I think that's a conversation that needs to happen. Now, it's been problematic because one of the people that the president appointed, Jeff Sessions, is against criminal justice reform. And we have senators all the way from Ted Cruz all the way to Rand Paul saying this is an issue that we need to tackle. I think a lot of people in America have real experience. When you have Tim Scott, who is the first black senator since Reconstruction, saying, I've been stopped by Capitol Police 6 times and had an actual experience, and then people saying, no, he's a part of the problem too. This is a guy that is a conservative just like me, and that's on our side. So maybe we do need to have these conversations. 90%, 95% of cops are on the right side of this. But those bad apples, how do we handle that? And that takes a national conversation.
Leslie, do you think there's a chance for bipartisan agreement on that? Because I know that, for example, Cory Booker agrees with Rand Paul. There's actually probably more agreement on that than just about anything on Capitol Hill right now.
Yes, because I think it comes down to justice, and I think Democrats and Republicans both see when there are injustices, especially toward African Americans, which, by the way, take the knee. That's how it all started, and that's really what it was about. It wasn't I hate this country. It was I don't like what is going on among the African American community.
But he wore those
in
pig
this country
socks,
to start with.
Yeah, the pig socks.
He wore those socks, and so it destroyed his message when you depicted all cops as pig. It would be like just like an officer wearing a shirt that said that all black people were thugs and were criminals. I'm sure the black community, as I would, push back against that. And I think that's part of the problem, Leslie. A lot of people, when they interject in this conversation, specifically on the left, maybe not you, but they make this a racist issue when it's really a government intrusion issue. And I think when we start having those conversations from that perspective, then we can reach some common ground.
Wait, Lawrence, sorry, I got to disagree with you there. Just when you look at the statistics, and you're African American,
I'm a black man,
clearly,
and I know the experience.
Well, exactly. You know that experience. You live that experience. I only hear from people that have that experience. But when you just look at the stats at who is being stopped, for what reason or where and by whom, and then when you look at the fatalities or the injuries when a gun is fired, I'm sorry, but I do think that the element of racism is there. And by the way, that is another national conversation we need to have that I think that we can have bipartisan agreement on going forward.
Well, look, and that, I think we might agree on one more thing. So I want to bring this up to you first, Lawrence. So this librarian in Massachusetts, she is a teacher as well as a librarian. She's one of the recipients of the generous offer that Melania Trump, the First Lady of the United States, sends Dr. Seuss books out. And this librarian has to post an open letter, and she says that actually she doesn't appreciate it. She thinks that the schools were wrongly targeted and that Dr. Seuss, especially the Cat in the Hat, is racist.
After she was seen in the photo.
Yeah, that's her in the actual Dr. Seuss outfit.
I think this is more of about the Trump name, and because her Melania's last name is Trump. But I think First Lady should be off. I know Michelle Obama got some pushback because she was telling people how to feed their children with the healthy meal initiative.
But that was her policy initiative. That's what she cared about.
It wasn't so much of a partisan thing. But I just think we should allow First Ladies to be graceful and take these causes head on. And whether you're talking about Michelle Obama or Melania Trump, I think we should just not talk about them.
Well, the interesting thing is that this librarian did this open letter. Like, we would have never even known about this except for the librarian sort of pushed it out into the open, and then the First Lady's office responded. Leslie, why does the left make it so easy for the right to get outraged?
Well, maybe, I don't know, because we're talking about it. First of all, this librarian, I'm from Boston. And you know that, Dana. Cambridgeport, where she is and where that school is an extremely wealthy school district where most of their parents have PhDs and 7 letters after their name with all of their titles. And I got to tell you, I love Dr. Seuss. I don't think when I read One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, it's racist. My kids loved it. It's on our bookshelf. However, no, the red fish and the blue fish, Dana. Come on, okay. But the bottom line here is, I do believe that it was right for her to return the books because this is an uber rich community.
Okay,
Another
I'm
school
going to
could have been better served.
Here's the thing. If the librarian was that offended and then she's like, we don't even need these books because we're such a wealthy place, then here's an idea. Instead of trying to come down on Melania Trump, why not gather up the books with the students and go and do a service project where they read to children who actually need some help? Like, why does it have to turn into something against Melania Trump? That's where I think that the librarian, with all of her PhDs and all the stuff, like, sort of really missed the boat. Well, okay, Dana, this is one of the reasons we're friends, because this is what I said off the air earlier, is they should have just taken the books and gone to, a school that was more needing of Smart
of
women
those
think
books.
alike.
But I do, obviously, yes. Obviously, this is a woman who does not like Trump. But I have to say that I don't think the First Lady should have responded. I don't think, look, Laura Bush, your old boss's wife, Dana,
well, I mean,
she was a librarian, and she wouldn't have responded to this.
She would have just
Lawrence,
said, okay, that if you're in the press office, you're going to get the last word. If you're in the press office, I've been there, and you find out that this librarian did the blog post, and you get a call from the press, like, what do you think about this? You're going to respond. Like, why not?
And this is a First Lady that's been attacked for the heels that she wears, and
she's pretty classy when she
she's
responds.
A classy, and she really doesn't respond often. Remember, she's one of the people that tells President Trump, "Hey, be careful with the Twitter, be more presidential." And so when you have Melania Trump, who is a classy first lady, saying that something went wrong, I think we should take her word for it.
That's right. Well, Leslie and Lawrence, I have to thank you because this is Friday night. It's my last night of hosting this show.
Congratulations!
And I have made it. I'm still awake, and I have even stopped drinking caffeine for 15 days. So this is quite an accomplishment, and you were here for it. Thank you so much.